Listen to me, yes, you. The one who's been carrying so much inside your heart, trying to smile through the weight of unseen battles. If you've been praying and it feels like heaven has been silent, if you've been waiting, wondering why things aren't moving, why the blessing hasn't broken through yet, this, right now, is not an accident. You were meant to hear this. Because there are moments when God doesn't give you what you're asking for, not because He's saying no, because He's clearing space for something better. Sometimes the blessing is already on its way, but there are things blocking its path. Things we hold on to without realizing they're standing between us and the miracle. And tonight, as your heart listens, as the world quiets and your spirit finally has room to breathe, I want to take you on a journey. Not a sermon, not a lecture, but a story whispered under the same stars that have watched countless souls find their breakthrough. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath. Let go of the noise. Because this is about to reach somewhere deeper than your mind. It's for your soul. There's an old psalm, simple, gentle, yet powerful beyond understanding. Psalm 37. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Some people read it as a promise. Others read it as poetry. But the truth, it's a key. A divine rhythm that unlocks what's been waiting for you. If you were to whisper that psalm before sleep, not as a ritual, but as surrender, it begins to reshape your inner world. Your mind softens, your heart opens, your subconscious, the quiet chamber where faith takes root, begins to breathe again. And when that happens, the blockages start to lift. Because the truth is, the blessings of God are never withheld by His hand. They're often withheld by ours. We hold too tightly. We cling to what's broken. We replay old wounds, compare, compete, worry, and in doing so, we build invisible walls around the very miracle we're praying for. I once met a woman, let's call her Grace. She was kind, faithful, generous, but she couldn't understand why nothing in her life was working. Her finances, her relationships, even her prayers all felt stuck. She said to me one night, I've fasted, I've prayed, I've given, but feels like heaven is locked. And I told her gently, maybe heaven isn't locked. Maybe your heart is. Tears filled her eyes, because deep down she knew. She was holding on to resentment. Someone had hurt her years ago, and though she spoke forgiveness, she never released it. And when you hold on to pain, you hold on to the energy of lack. You may not see it, but your spirit does. I told her to do something simple. Before bed, open her Bible to Psalm 37. Read it slowly out loud, not to perform it, but to feel it. Let each line wash over her. And then whisper, Lord, I release what I cannot control. Heal what I cannot see. She did that for 7 nights. On the 8th day, she called me crying again. But this time, tears of awe. A debt she thought impossible to pay off had been cancelled. A new job opened. A peace entered her home that she hadn't felt in years. It wasn't magic. It was alignment. The moment she let go, God could move. Sometimes it's not sin that blocks the blessing. It's stubbornness. We want things to happen our way, on our schedule, through our understanding. But divine timing doesn't bend to human deadlines. God doesn't rush what's sacred. Think of a seed, buried in the dark, unseen, silent. For weeks, nothing, no sign of life. But deep beneath the soil, roots are forming. A process the eye can't see, but heaven can. Your life is like that. And if you dig it up too soon out of impatience, you'll kill what was growing. Maybe that's why the psalm says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Because rest isn't laziness. It's trust. It's saying, God, I may not understand it, but I trust that you're still writing. When you rest in Him, your heart stops fighting. And that's when things begin to shift. Let's pause here. Because maybe as you listen, there's something stirring inside you. Maybe you've been sensing that something's off, that you've been doing everything right, yet peace feels far. Maybe your spirit has been tired. Maybe you've been trying to fix things that only God can. So tonight, under this quiet sky, I want you to ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that God has been asking me to release? Maybe it's fear. Fear that if you let go, you'll lose control. But that's the point. You're not supposed to control what only God can orchestrate. Maybe it's comparison, looking at everyone else's journey and wondering why yours seems slower. But blessings aren't on sale at the same counter. Each one arrives in divine sequence. And when you stop comparing, you start preparing. Maybe it's guilt, carrying mistakes that God already forgave, but you refuse to forget. Let me tell you something, tender grace doesn't work halfway. When God says you're forgiven, heaven doesn't bring it up again. So why should you? Release it. Let the old chapter close. Let the light in. When I was younger, I used to sit on the rooftop at night and talk to God. Not with fancy words, just honest ones. I'd say, Lord, I don't understand what you're doing, but I trust you. And almost every time I'd feel this gentle warmth move through me. Not an answer, not a vision, just peace. That's how God often speaks. Not in thunder, but in stillness. Not in noise, but in knowing. And I began to realize something every time I let go of something I couldn't change. Something beautiful took its place. When I released bitterness, joy found me. When I released control, provision came. When I released worry, creativity bloomed. Letting go is not losing, it's making room. Imagine this, you're walking through a garden, and in your hands are heavy stones, each one labeled with things you can't seem to release. Fear, regret, anger, control, doubt. And God is standing ahead of you, holding a basket of flowers. Peace, abundance, love, purpose, clarity. But you can't take them because your hands are full. That's what it looks like spiritually. You can't receive new blessings while clutching old burdens. Sometimes the only thing God is waiting for is your surrender. Let's talk about the subconscious for a moment, the silent world beneath your waking thoughts. It's where your beliefs live, where your emotions sleep, where your faith roots itself. When you meditate on scripture before sleep, you're planting divine seeds in that fertile ground. Your conscious mind might forget by morning, but your spirit doesn't. It keeps watering the word through the night. Psalm 37, whispered before bed, tells spirit 3 things: you are seen, you are safe, and you are supplied. It reprograms your inner world to expect goodness again. And when your heart expects it, life begins to align with that expectation. Faith is not pretending everything's fine. Faith is resting in the truth that even in delay, God's still at work. There was once a man, a builder, who lost everything. He told me he prayed every night for God to restore what was taken. For years, nothing happened. Then one night, in tears, he said, God, I give up. Not in defeat, but in surrender. You lead. That night, he slept peacefully for the first time in years. 2 weeks later, a friend called him with an opportunity that not only restored his income, but multiplied it. It wasn't luck, it was release. Because sometimes your blessing isn't blocked by lack. It's blocked by your grip on what no longer serves you. Maybe the thing blocking your blessing isn't external at all. Maybe it's an internal war. A conversation you've been having with yourself. Am I enough? Does God really see me? Why do I always come last? But here's the truth: God doesn't bless based on worthiness. He blesses based on willingness. And the moment you open your heart to receive without fear, heaven begins to flow again. Let that sink in for a moment. You don't earn favor. You align with it. If you're listening to this before bed, I want you to slow your breathing. Inhale peace, exhale tension. Let go of the outcome. Just be here in this sacred moment. Maybe tonight. Instead of asking God, when? Ask Him, what? What are you teaching me in this waiting? What part of me are you healing before you bless me? Because often, delay isn't denial, it's development. God is preparing you for the weight of what you've prayed for. And the blessing isn't just what you receive, it's who you become in the waiting. Let's go back to Psalm 37 for a moment. It says, commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. That's not just a promise, it's a pattern. Commit. Trust. Watch Him move. But notice it doesn't say how or when. Because faith doesn't need details. It just needs surrender. If you can trust God in the dark, you'll see light you never imagined. There's a story of a woman in an old village who used to pray every night at the same window. People mocked her. They said, "You've been praying for years and nothing's changed." But she smiled and said, "Something is changing. Me." And one night, after years of prayer, the impossible happened. Her long-lost son returned home. She didn't know that while she was praying, God was working through others, aligning, moving, preparing hearts. That's how divine timing works. It's not late, it's layered. So maybe tonight, this message isn't about 5 specific things to list, but 5 energies to release: resentment, fear, control, comparison, doubt, 5 heavy stones. When you let them go, you make space for something new: peace, trust, rest, faith, flow. You don't have to chase blessings when you're aligned. They find you. The night has a way of magnifying our worries. Builds relationships, future plans. They echo louder when the world gets quiet. But it's also the time when heaven whispers the clearest. And that whisper says, "Be still. I am working." God doesn't need your anxiety. He needs your agreement. He needs your yes, your surrender, your faith. You may not see it yet, but in unseen realms, things are shifting. The phone call is coming. The healing is forming. The door is unlocking. The peace is approaching. Let go of what you think it should look like, because what God has planned will be more beautiful than what you prayed for. I want you to imagine this next moment as a prayer, not a request, but a release. Close your eyes again. Whisper softly, "Lord, I let go of control, of fear, of what I can't understand. I trust your timing. I open my hands to receive what you've prepared for me. And as I rest tonight, let your words shape my dreams. Let Psalm 37 write peace into my soul." I feel that. That's alignment. That's the atmosphere of miracles. Before you sleep tonight, remember this: you don't have to chase what's already yours in heaven's timing. You only need to remove what stands in its way. Sometimes that's pride, sometimes it's doubt, sometimes it's an old wound. But every time you release one, you come closer to the river of blessings waiting to flow through your life. God doesn't withhold. He prepares. He protects. He perfects. And when the time is right, He releases everything that was meant for you. Not a second too soon, not a moment too late. So as you drift into rest, remember, the blessing is not gone. It's growing. It's forming in the silence, maturing in the unseen, waiting for the right dawn to arrive. And when it does, you'll understand why the wait was worth it. Because sometimes the miracle isn't just what you receive, it's what you release to make room for it. Tonight, let Psalm 37 be your lullaby. Let every verse remind you you are loved. You are chosen and your story is still unfolding. Whisper it softly before you close your eyes. Let its rhythm become your prayer, its promise your peace. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Say it again. Feel it. Believe it. Let it echo into your tomorrow. Because when you truly let go, heaven takes over. And when heaven takes over, blessings have no choice but to flow. So sleep in faith tonight. Rest in divine timing. And watch what God does next. Soft pause, a breath, then the narrator's voice lowers, almost a whisper. You've carried enough. You've cried enough. Now it's time to rest. Let go of the 5 things blocking your blessing and see what God does. Because morning is coming. And with it, new mercy, new provision, new light. Close your eyes. Let peace in. The blessing is on its way. And this time, nothing will block it. And if you're still awake listening in the quiet, it's because your spirit isn't done receiving yet. There's something in you that knows. This message wasn't random. It was sent. And maybe, just maybe, it's the reminder your heart has been waiting for. You see, the night is God's favorite time to work. While the world sleeps, heaven rearranges. While your eyes close, your faith begins to move unseen mountains. Even when nothing feels like it's changing, it is. You just can't see it yet. Every prayer, every tear, every whispered, "Oh Lord, I trust you," becomes a seed in the soil of divine timing. And seeds don't bloom overnight. They rest, they surrender. They stay hidden in darkness until the light finds them. That's where you are right now. Not forgotten, just planted. So let the dark cradle you tonight, not frighten you, Because the darkness that once felt empty is now holy ground, the place where your next season is taking root. There's a story told among the elders of an ancient village. They said every time a storm passed through the valley, the flowers would bend, but never break. And when asked why they never snapped in the wind, one old gardener smiled and said, they bend because they trust the soil. And maybe that's what faith really is, trusting the soil. Trusting that even when life bends you low, the same ground that holds you is also growing you. So bend if you must, cry if you need to, but never forget you are still rooted. Sometimes the things we call setbacks are really just sacred redirections. God doesn't close doors to punish you. He does it to protect you. There are some paths that look bright, but end in burnout. Some people that look perfect, but carry poison. Some opportunities that seem right, but would have stolen your peace. So when something falls apart, whisper this truth to your soul. I don't need to understand the why, because I trust the who. And when you truly mean that, something shifts. The worry leaves. The confusion quiets. And suddenly, you find yourself breathing again lighter, freer. I once heard of a man who had a dream where he stood before two doors. One was labeled, my plan. The other, God's plan. His own planned door sparkled, gold decorated, inviting. The other door was simple, wooden, almost plain. But when he reached for the shiny one, it was locked. He tried again. Nothing. And he heard a voice say, the door that shines isn't always the one that leads to light. He turned toward the wooden door, opened it, and found a breathtaking meadow bathed in sunlight. He woke up in tears. Because that night, he understood the blessings of God often come wrapped in simplicity. They don't always announce themselves with thunder. Sometimes they whisper through quiet choices, humble beginnings, small obediences. So maybe the thing blocking your blessing isn't the devil, or the world, or bad luck. Maybe it's the belief that it has to look dramatic to be divine. But the Spirit of God moves in stillness. He's not always in the fire or the earthquake sometimes. He's in the gentle whisper that tells you, rest, it's already done. And oh, the beauty of rest. It's not laziness, it's sacred surrender. Rest says, God, I've done my part. The rest is yours. You can't carry your own miracle. You can't birth it by willpower. You can only nurture it through faith. And faith grows when you rest in His promise. Remember this tonight, God is not in a hurry, because He's never late. He's never pacing heaven's floor wondering how to help you. He's not nervous about your bills, your health, your timeline, or your future. He already wrote the ending, and it's glorious. Now take a deep breath. Let your shoulders soften. Feel the weight of the day melt away. Let this next truth wash over you like warm rain. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are being shaped. You are being guided. You are being loved. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment, it's all part of your preparation for what's ahead. You're not waiting on God. Sometimes God's waiting on you to release, to forgive, to rest, to believe again. And when you finally do, when you unclench your hands and say, Lord, I'm ready for whatever you have next, that's when heaven exhales. That's when things begin to move. That's when the floodgates of favor swing open wide, because blessings are drawn to peace like rivers to the sea. They flow naturally to hearts that are free. So tonight, free your heart. Let go of what didn't work. Bless the people who left. Thank God for the lessons that hurt. Forgive yourself for not knowing sooner, and rest knowing that nothing you've lost was meant to stay. The hands that formed you are still holding you, and they never drop what they create. Now listen to this promise, not from me, but from the word itself. Trust in the Lord, and do good, dwell in the land, and feed on His faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. That's not just a verse, it's a vow. He's saying, if you make me your delight, I'll make my blessings your reality. So make space for Him tonight, in your thoughts, in your breathing, in your sleep. And as you do, the things that once blocked your blessing will begin to crumble like dust in your wake. Tomorrow, when you wake up, don't rush. Just whisper, "Thank you." Say it before your feet even touch the floor, because gratitude is the doorway to miracles. The more you thank Him for what you already have, the faster what you need begins to appear. And if fear tries to visit again, remind it who your God is. He split seas for His people. He brought bread from heaven. He raised the dead. He won't forget you. You are next in line for something beautiful. But first, let go of what's blocking the line. The world will tell you to hustle, grind, push harder. But heaven whispers, "Be still," because what's meant for you will never require you to sacrifice your peace to keep it. The right door opens easily. The right people stay effortlessly. The right opportunity fits without force. So stop trying to force what doesn't flow. Stop begging for what doesn't belong. And start aligning with what's already yours. When you do that, miracles won't just visit your life. They'll make a home in it. The stars above you tonight, they're ancient witnesses to promises fulfilled. They've watched God turn famine into feast, waiting into wonder, pain into purpose. And they're watching over you now, whispering softly, "Your time is coming too." So don't give up now. You're closer than you think. Every tear you cried has watered something unseen. Every no you faced was making space for a better yes. Every ending was simply a beginning in disguise. Let go. Let peace take over. Let Psalm 37 sing its truth over you. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret, for those who wait upon the Lord shall inherit the earth. That's not a metaphor. That's a promise. And tonight, that promise belongs to you. So as your eyelids grow heavy and the world drifts into stillness, imagine laying every worry, every doubt, every what if at God's feet. See yourself placing them down, one by one. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to understand them. Just release them. And in their place, feel His peace fill you. Warm, gentle, endless. It flows through your chest, down your arms, into your fingers, into every weary part of you. You are safe. You are loved. You are chosen. And the blessing that seemed so far away is already on its way home. A voice softens to a whisper. Tonight is not the end. It's the turning point. Tomorrow, you'll rise lighter, clearer, stronger. Because now you know the things blocking your blessing were never meant to stay. Let them go and see what God does. Because when you release, you rise. When you surrender, you soar. And when you trust, you win. Every single time. Sleep now. In peace, in faith, in divine timing.